Here are some hints for working with piecewise functions. The first hint is open and closed dots. An open dot is used when we have a less than and a greater than. A closed dot is when we have a less than or equal to and a greater than or equal to. An open dot means all of the points up to that point, but not including that point, and a closed dot means all of the points up to that point, including that point. The other hint with open and closed dots: if we have a piece that has an open dot on one end, and our second piece comes in with a closed dot, that closed dot fills in an open dot. So even though this piece has an open dot on the end and this piece has a closed dot on the end, that closed dot fills in the open dot. The second hint deals with positive and negative slopes. Always read your graph from left to right. A positive slope will always rise from left to right. What's tricky about piecewise functions is sometimes it looks like our line is going down. Even though if we read this line from left to right, it's rising, it has a positive slope, we look at this and we think, well, it's going down, it's got to be a negative slope. This is actually a positive slope. A negative slope falls from left to right, which can be tricky sometimes because we might have a piece that looks like it's going up, when in reality if we read this piece from left to right, it's actually falling from left to right. So this piece has a negative slope. The third hint: all of these will be functions. Since they're piecewise functions, they will all pass the vertical line test. So if you graph a piece and it goes in this direction, and then you graph another piece and it goes in this direction, we know right away that this doesn't pass the vertical line test, and somewhere you made a mistake. Either you graphed the lines wrong or you read your if statements wrong. The other thing you need to watch out for is sometimes you will have a piece going in this direction, and then you'll have another piece that starts here and goes in this direction. Again, this is not a function because it doesn't pass the vertical line test. So somewhere you made a mistake, either in graphing the lines or in the if statements. And the last hint: all of the piecewise functions that we're going to work with in this class will be continuous from left to right. That means that there's going to be no gaps from left to right. If I have a piece right here, and then from left to right I skip some numbers and have another piece here, if I look at this, I have a gap from left to right. All of the piecewise functions that we will study will be continuous from left to right. So if you see a gap, you've done something wrong. Now be careful. We can have a gap vertically in a piecewise function and still be continuous. If we look at this piecewise function, it passes the vertical line test. And if we read it from left to right, we're on this piece all the way to this point, and then once we get just bigger than this x value, we hop down here to this piece. So from left to right, we're continuous. From top to bottom, we have a gap in here, but that's all right. We're only worried about being continuous from left to right, our domain. Our range can have some gaps.